Hello and welcome to this month's edition of my G1 Ultra Magnus restoration. This is the 5th video in the series, and as you've probably seen from the thumbnail picture, I now have all the parts. So obviously, a waist piece, the chest piece, the head, the helmet, the missile launchers and the missiles, the 2 large fists, the 2 small fists, and the gun. That's all 12 pieces are now in my possession. It took me a little while to get them together, and obviously it cost me some money, but it won't actually go into the facts and figures until the final video in this restoration series, where I reveal the completed figure. But I've actually got everything I need to complete the restoration, and that includes the Repro labels. Yeah, I've been and bought the Repro labels. The Repro labels arrived on the 12th of June, and the last piece I was waiting for out of the pieces was the right hand large fist, and that arrived on the 4th of June. So I now have all my pieces. Now, you'd think now that he's got all these bits, he can start rebuilding the trailer. Well, not quite, because there's actually a few little issues that need resolving on the trailer first, and obviously there were some repairs that needed doing to some of these parts that I got in. So I'll show you a quick video clip to show you some minor repairs that I have made earlier this month. Okay, one of the pieces that I got more recently, as you can see, is one of the small fists for the White Magnus, and it's got this old congealed blue tack around the end, because obviously the previous owner had it as a means of attaching. Obviously the peg's probably worn, so they used it as a means to hold the fist onto the figure without it dropping off. But as you can see, it's dirty and it just looks unsightly, so I need to remove it. I mean, I got these in a lot with 2 fists. I've already removed the stuff from the other fist, so I thought I'd show this one on camera as part of my video. So what I'm doing is I've got this paper knife, and it's got a rounded edge, and what I'm doing is I'm just gently teasing the stuff off. And even though it's dried out, it's still kind of moving. So you just gently peel it off. Right, so, and then you're just left with the little bits left. And there we go. Well, I've got most of it off with a little bit there. And there we go, nice and clean. Another issue I've had with some of the parts is to do with the missile launchers. Now this one, as you can see, it's still got the trigger intact, but the other 2 that I bought, unfortunately, they didn't have the trigger intact. So, like, they came with the backs removed, and yeah. So, what I'm doing is I'm decided I'm going to put some dummy triggers in here. So what I've done is I've cut a piece of this plastic angle section out, and I've glued it inside to make a dummy trigger. And I've done this to both of them. They're a bit rough at the moment. They need to shape the end of the peg to make it look more rounded. And then it'll just be a question of gluing the backs back on. Now, because there's nothing in there to stop the missile from prevent the missile from holding in place, because on this one, obviously you can see the trigger inside. That's completely missing. What I've decided to do is I will get some nail varnish and I will stick it down the hole to build the inside of the hole out, so that you can then stick a missile in and it will hold it in place. So a little bit of work to do on these, but work ongoing. I have noticed that there is some slight corrosion on these pins for the shoulder joints, so I've decided to give them a quick clean. Right, that's that one done. And there we go. Nice clean pin. Right, so as you can see there, I obviously the missile launchers were missing. The replacement ones I got were damaged and missing the triggers. So I put in a replacement trigger. You don't want to pull back on it because you'll probably snap it. But the original one still got the thing, even though the missiles don't launch because there's no springs in there. But this one, what I've done to hold the missiles in, because there's no trigger in there to hold them in place, I've just put some nail varnish on the inside of there, so you can push the missile in and it doesn't come out. So there was that, and obviously I got these fists and they had blue tack around the ends and I cleaned it all off. And then there was them 2 pins for the shoulder joints that had some corrosion on, and I addressed those issues. So I got those little fixes done. There is still another fix that I need to do on the shoulder joints, because the tabs for the shoulder joints where they fold round, they're broken, they need to be fixed, but that's a job for next time. But there was something else. There was something else on this figure that was troubling me, and that is the sun fading. Now, both the cab unit and the trailer have both suffered from sun fading. I mean, I've got the cab here, and you can, I don't know if you can see, but I mean, he's got really yellow around the top here, and got yellow on his, basically all the plastic on this thing's yellowed badly. But on the trailer section, obviously there was yellowing on the white plastic parts, but the blue plastic parts had also got, you know, sun fading on them, where it turned sort of like a dullish, almost like a greenish colour. And now I could have continued with the restoration as it was, you know, cleaned, new decals, built it all up with the replacement parts. I would have had a complete Ultra Magnus, but it still would have had that sun fading on it. It wouldn't have looked a mint figure. I mean, you could say I could have left the sun fading in place, because that then shows that it's a vintage toy and it's old and aged. I could have left it like that, but something inside me says, well, if there's a way to fix this, then I need to do something about it. So I did some research on YouTube, because I knew there was a ways and a means to fix yellow plastic. Now, I did some research and I found this technique where you buy this hair care, this blonding gel, and then you sort of brush it on the affected part, and then you put it in a Ziploc bag and you leave it out in the sun. And I thought, well, that works for white plastic parts, but what about blue plastic parts? And then I decided to do a test. Now, I got one of the plastic pieces. In fact, it was this piece, and it was on Sunday the 10th. I went out to the pictures, actually. I went to see Jurassic Park Fallen Kingdom, and while I went out, because it was a sunny afternoon, because you need sunshine to do this, so I lathered this thing up with the blonding cream, you know, the hair gel cream, put it in a bag, left it out in the sun, and then every when I came back from the pictures, I turned it round so that you know, it was different sides of it were facing the sun. And then after, I don't know, about 4 hours, I took it in, cleaned it off, and it was amazing the difference it made. It had virtually cured the sun fading on it, with the exception it had a little bit of a shadow down two sides. But I've since done this piece again, and as you can see, it's beautiful and mint again, no sun fading. So then there was the other pieces. Now the problem with this technique is you need multiple hours of bright, strong sunshine, and because we live in the UK, a bit of a problem. You don't exactly get, we don't exactly get, you know, bright, strong sunshine. It's quite a rare occurrence. So that the week after I did this piece, I was hoping to do some more, but the weather wasn't playing ball for the rest of that week. So I went through the entire week, and it wasn't until a week Friday, it was Friday the 22nd, that we actually had, I came home from work half day, and it was a beautiful sunny afternoon. So I started doing some more pieces, and I did some little video clips for it, which I will show to you now. Right, I'm having another go at trying to sort out sun fading on these plastic parts, but unfortunately, as you can see, it's hardly ideal conditions. It's not blazing sun like I need. Right, so stuff I'm using is this number 1 blonding brand. It's like a gel, and then put some into there. Have a suitable soft brush, preferably one that's got wide flat bristles on it, and you need some Ziploc bags and some pieces you want to treat. Now I did this experiment on this piece and it turned out really well, but I didn't quite catch all the fading that's on two sides. It's still got a bit of a shadow, so I want to do that again. And you look at this piece, you can see where the Autobot symbol was, and the rest of it's all faded pretty bad, but these are faded on both sides, these 4 pieces here, so they're going to need to be done on 2 sides. So you need to brush the stuff on and then put them out in the sun. Right, so what you do is you liberally coat the piece with the cream. So, and then you put it inside a Ziploc bag, zip it up, and you put it out in the sun. And you can see this one here is starting to fog up, which is good because it means the stuff's working. Now, ideally you want like an arrow on one side of the bag. So yeah, you want an arrow on the side of the bag so you can change the orientation in the sunlight, because you want to make sure it gets you know, a good coating, you know, a good treatment on all sides. Otherwise you'll get, you know, patches which ain't being done. So just leave them out in the sun for a couple of hours now and see what we get. Right, they've been out for another hour. Time to turn them around again. And then reset the timer. There you are, Dean. I've put your Magnus helmet out in the sun. See if I can sort out that little bit of sun fading it had on the left hand side. Just put it out for an hour quickly, see if the process will work for 1 hour instead of 4. So they're all on the table now, sunning themselves some more. Right, it's been a couple of hours now. I think these guys are ready.
heating.
Yeah.
Look at him.
Swill the parts off. Right, so I've got the parts in and dried them off. Seems to have got most of the sun damage off, but these were sun damaged on both sides, so they're probably going to have to go out again. I'm not sure, I can't remember which sides I did. This was the bit I redid because it was still a little bit affected on this side, but that seems to be about perfect now. Now, this one looks okay on that side. It's okay down the sides, but it's still see a little bit of colour difference there. And this one looks the same. Yeah, so that'll probably have to be, I can't remember where I'd done the upside or the downside, but anyway. So some of them will have to go out again on another time, but it's making good progress. But it's a very time-consuming process. Obviously, you need a good sunny day in order to do this properly, and it's living in the UK. You don't get much in the way of sunny days, so yeah. So it's going to take time, but I'm getting on with it. I'm hoping for good weather next week. So yeah, okay, that's these bits done for now. Yeah, obviously I'm up at Bury this weekend, as you can see, and it's the Sunday morning, about just after 10 o'clock, and I thought, well, we've got some nice sun, and let's do some more do some more parts. So I've just put these parts out, and hopefully a couple of hours time they'll be sorted. Right, I've just washed the parts down in the sink. I'm having to get them in. They've been out there for most of the day. It's now 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I haven't had a closer look. Obviously I haven't dried them off yet, and but it's looking good. It looks like some more pieces have finally had the sun fading removed, but yeah, I'll have a better look at them when I get home. Right, so yeah, you've seen that that video clip. I did a bunch of pieces on the 22nd, and I also went up to Bury on the 24th, and I took some of the parts up with me and the equipment I needed to do it, and I cleaned up. I managed to treat some more parts. But this week in particular, you know, it's 25th to today, the 28th, has been, as we know, it's been a bit of a heat wave in the UK, and we've had glorious sunshine every single day. So when I come home from work in the evenings, I've been going out there and I've been doing a bunch of parts every single day, and now I've pretty much completed the sun fading restoration on all the white and blue parts for the trailer section. So yeah, that's all done. Obviously I'm gonna have to do this guy next, but I haven't started taking this guy apart. I want to finish the restoration on the trailer before I move on to this guy, so it probably won't be till August till I start ripping into this guy. So yeah, so we've got all the pieces. So what's left to do now? So next month I'm going to be starting reassembly. There's still some minor repairs I need to do, like I said, on the tabs for the broken tabs for the shoulder joints. I need to do a fix for them, but I've got an idea of how I'm going to do that. And then it's a case of just putting it all back together, and yeah, so should be completing the restoration on the trailer next month, and then we'll move on to the cab section. But that's been my restoration update video for today, video number 5, and I'm TFR Wilderness. I hope you're enjoying this little series I'm doing on this this restoration on this G1 Ultra Magnus. It's coming along nicely now, and you know, fingers crossed, should have a mint G1 Ultra Magnus when I'm finished. So that's been me today. I'll catch you all next time. Ta-da.